Thank you for joining us at XM.com. In this preview video, we'll be looking at the European Central Bank meeting this week. With markets adding to their rate cut bets lately, investors will be looking for any hints regarding the timing of those cuts. I'm Christina Marujos. With me today is Achilleas Georgolopoulos, investment analyst. Achilleas, the last ECB meeting for 2023 is coming up on Thursday. What should markets anticipate?
Good morning, Christina, and thank you for the question. Yes, the ECB holds its final 2023 meeting on Thursday. The decision is expected at 12:15 GMT, and the press conference and the usual Q&A 30 minutes later. ECB is expected to keep its rates unchanged. However, it could give some strong hints about its 2024 strategy. Going into the meeting, we know three things. One, inflation continues to decelerate. The preliminary report for the month of November had both headline and core inflation dropping aggressively. Especially the latter, core inflation, means that even hawks have essentially acknowledged the situation and they are not pushing for any rate hikes. Second, there are some bright spots in terms of the growth outlook. For example, the latest PMIs and the German IFO surveys have probably bottomed out. This means that potentially 2024 will be better. And finally, the latest figures for loans in the euro area, which is something that President Lagarde comments a lot, are currently in a negative annual growth. And that, of course, before the full brunt of the 10 consecutive rate hikes hits the system.
Well, speaking of Lagarde, Achilleas, do you think she will go as far as confirming markets' expectations of rate cuts, especially as inflation in the Eurozone has moderated significantly lately?
There is a key input there that will probably determine how President Lagarde essentially presents the ECB decisions and the statement. The scheduled ECB staff projections. We will get the latest edition at the meeting. What happens there is that September essentially release of these projections, the 2025 inflation figure was at 2.1. Now, we go into Thursday. If this figure drops a bit below 2%, that probably means that the ECB is happy with its current stance and probably at this stage not really ready to talk about rate cuts. However, if we see the 2025 CPI inflation figure dropping very close to 1.5%, that will probably mean that the ECB could potentially discuss rate cuts. Of course, this will be picked upon by the market, which is already pricing in an aggressive easing of ECB's monetary policy during 2024, with a first rate hike already expected by the April meeting. Now, putting everything together for Thursday, the ECB is expected to remain balanced, but there is a high risk of the rhetoric being a bit more dovish. However, President Lagarde has, let's say, one advantage. They publish the statement and then 30 minutes later, as we said earlier, the press conference comes. Therefore, they can see the market reaction from the statement and then try to control those market expectations and market reactions at the Q&A during the press conference.
And speaking of the market reaction, Achilleas, how can we see the euro perform, especially if the ECB hints at possible rate cuts coming up?
The euro has mostly lost the gains against the pound, partly due to the market pricing in aggressive rate cuts during 2024. Now, should the ECB defy the dovish expectations, so it appears more hawkish, it appears saying that we're not discussing rate cuts, so it's something completely out of our discussions and therefore not something we consider, then we can see the euro-pound pair moving towards a 0.8635. On the flip side, of course, if the staff projections reveal what the ECB is thinking about the first quarter of 2024, which could be a rate cut, then we could see the euro-pound pair dropping aggressively towards a 0.8492, which is the low for 2023.
Achilleas, thanks so much. The European Central Bank meeting is coming up on Thursday. This was a preview video. Thanks for watching at xm.com.